Speaking of cynicism, are we going to do Netflix again?
Oh my God, we're trying to get out of it, but Suffer just dropped a Netflix article, and then Netflix came out with 2 PR pieces last week. One was by the co-CEO, Greg Peters, and then the other one was by their VP of External Games, Leanne Loombay, if I pronounced that correctly.
She's OG, man. Yeah. She's been doing this shit a long time. I'll give her that. I'll give her credit.
I would assume, but both of them are awesome. My point was mainly that the way I understood it, I could be wrong, is that the CEO article was, of course, more about Netflix as a whole. It was the Verge article, and it was talking about the Netflix future. He talked about AI, of course, what else he would talk about, and all these other elements, but one of them was games. And in games, I'm quoting him, he said, ultimately, to give fans the most compelling, immersive experiences, eventually we'll go to something that looks like AAA model. I would definitely not rule that out. So the CEO is saying, we're going to AAA. I want people to play on TV. Essentially, what was that Google product that failed?
Stadia.
Yeah. Like I was envisioning that he's talking about Stadia, but with Netflix IPs. Got it.
Good luck.
Great. We're going to play Rebel Moon AAA and enjoy.
That was in the works, though. That's not a joke. That was in the works.
It was.
That's actually still in the works. Okay. It's a phenomenal show.
Damn it, they're out of their minds. They're out of their minds, yeah. All of them.
So that was the article, and he gave a glimpse of what the future would look like. And it's inspiring, it's new, it's something that other people are not doing. But then when Leanne was giving her interview, I don't call these interviews. They wrote, questions, and then the PR wrote answers. But on Pocket Gamer, she was stating that they're really happy with the shape of the portfolio has taken, and that the games are a long-term bet for Netflix.
No.
Well, and then she had this fallacy that they keep on saying is that our audience doesn't have to deal with ads or microtransactions that disrupt the gameplay experience, and the developers can work with us without worrying about monetization and can focus on the best player experience possible. So, these same fallacies, but we know what has been happening. They've been buying dead games and basically removing microtransactions from them and removing ads. And these games are not really that much downloaded, except that if they pay a lot of money for old GTA games, and then those are downloaded, et cetera, et cetera. And after spending about $3 billion, they've learned 2 key lessons. One is games with IP are more popular. Surprise. And creating games based on members' favorite series and films is one of the biggest opportunities that Netflix has. So using their own IPs is actually a good idea. That's also a great learning.
Only took them 2 years.
But then they created shitty experiences on Roblox with those set IPs. Yeah. That doesn't make sense.
Well, the experiences were not good. Like I played several of these games, and they were ported from PC games, and they just weren't great user experience. Nevertheless,
where's
as
Ethan?
Suford put it in his article, this strategy is called spaghetti strategy. So you're throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. And at the moment, it doesn't seem that really many things stick, except their original IPs that I think they've gotten over 20 million downloads.
They haven't even fucking done that, which is so crazy. Like, Ethan's right. Where's my Bridgerton Match 3? Where the fuck is my Emily in Paris game? It's so obvious.
My takeaway, I think Jen is going to disagree with this, but my takeaway from reading these 2 articles, one was behind paywall, is that I feel like the CEO and head of external games, who I feel like is now the spokesperson for Netflix games, are telling a little bit of a different story. I understand that the CEO might be looking 5 years ahead, and she's talking about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Neither of them talk about the ROI for the games business, but Suford has a great article in Mobile Dev Memo, and he kind of goes into this where he shows the graphs of churn and the effect of games and whether it had any effect and what is the big reason. And essentially he's making a case that no, there's none of that happening. But to end this, my own segment is I think that I know that Netflix Games Comms has been looking to get in touch with us and correct some of the facts, not some of the facts, but some of the statements we've made. And we welcome. We do corrections at the beginning of every show.
Yeah, please.
Bring it on.
We would love to have them on a podcast. We just operate with the information we're given.
I'll tell them specifically, if you guys don't say anything, people are going to speculate, right? So now you're finally coming out and actually doing PR and trying to tell the story. Without a story, it's going to be rumors and speculation, fundamentally.
I guess I didn't understand why you said they were saying different things, because, there is AAA games in development. Because she's only over half the business, so Netflix is organized with an internal team and an external team, and she heads up the external team. So she works with people who are external, basically doing licensing agreements, kind of exactly like what Apple Arcade is. And so I don't think she is over the AAA business. And so in her view, what she is doing for what her purview is, it is more of the, hey, we are, we've noticed IP is important. We've noticed, we want to do those things. And I think that makes sense. And I think, the CEO is talking about long-term vision that includes AAA, that includes what Leanne is doing. And so I didn't think they were necessarily saying different things. I think she was speaking to a little bit more to her view. And I think we're looking for a strategy, and neither one of them is really giving that to us yet. And I think, again, they don't know what their strategy is, because you're right. I think their strategy has been to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. And I think they are starting to find some of these things. Now, I think we think that the no monetization, no ads model isn't actually helping. I think we're probably right on that, because to Phil's point, sometimes as a player, you need to have some skin in the game to want to stay with these games. I do think that the challenge is, just like with Amazon, which we might not get to today, but we might talk about next week, is just because an IP is on Netflix doesn't mean that that team has the rights. So with Bridgerton, with Emily in Paris, maybe not that one, they might not have the rights to do some of these IPs, or the IP holder might be, a challenging IP holder. We all know Harry Potter, right? We all know that J.K. Rowling is a fucking pain in the ass to work with. And so I am just speculating that they might not have rights. They might have difficult IP holders. They might not have prioritized it because it's a female audience, and they have not thought that that was open-minded as much. I agree with you. The first thing when I've pitched them is like, Bridgerton, give me Bridgerton. Holy shit. Like, what? I'll make any genre you want with that IP. Anyway, that's just my quick take.
Yeah. Okay. I want to just kind of update my thinking on this. Is that I think I might have been completely wrong about my assessment about what's going on in Netflix gaming. I'll have to capitulate, right? My assessment was basically that licensing their best content to Roblox is a sign of an impatient org, and that the gaming and impatient with the gaming contribution, and that potentially it's a sign that Netflix is going to stop the gaming strategy, right? I think I'm wrong about that. What I was right about was that there's dissension in the ranks, right? It's more of a sign that Netflix is perhaps unhappy with the current leadership at games, or that the current leadership was unhappy with Netflix corporate, which is, I think, what likely is probably the problem, right? But from this PR, you have to kind of read between the nonsense and bullshit, right? Is that the Netflix is in it for the long term, right? What is critical is the next hiring for the gaming group exec, right? If they hire an experienced game maker or a experienced publishing person, mobile, otherwise, whatever, I think that bodes well for the long-term potential of this particular area of business. If they hire a mother effing tech bro, with no gaming series whatsoever, and I go on LinkedIn and we have like 3 mutual connections, this is fucking over. This is fucking over. This is going to be a fucking goddamn money pit in which they are going to throw billions at this bullshit and ultimately fail fucking miserably, right? No more tech bros. No more tech bros. We don't need these guys, okay, doing this shit. If it's a McKinsey guy that has been doing nothing but bullshit for fucking 20 years, it's fucking over, all right? So this is my warning to Netflix, and you can correct that, okay? Don't do that. Do not do that, please. I'm begging you. All right, that's it.
What if it's Bernard Kim? Like we always suggest, whenever there's somebody, we just say, just bring on Bernard Kim.
No, Bernard makes sense. Dude, the guy,
right?
The guy's the face man, right? He'd be good. He's far better than being at Match. What the fuck is he doing at Match? It's crazy, right? Yeah, Bernard Kim is perfect for this role, dude.
Well, there you have it. We've solved it.
We solved it. All problems Netflix.